Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I wanted to talk about the recent controversy going on with Red Dead Redemption 2, and in particular the co-founder and lead writer of Rockstar, Dan Houser. And it all started a couple of days ago when New York Magazine put out an article talking about the making of Rockstar's ambitious cowboy game. And in it there was an interview with Dan Houser, and I just wanted to, before we even, start talking about this, I just wanted to give you the full quote of what people are getting outraged about and why this whole controversy is starting. That way you have some kind of context as to what I'm talking about and what the outrage that people are having is. And so the quote is, "The polishing, rewrites, and re-edits Rockstar does are immense. We were working 100-hour weeks several times in 2018. Dan says, "The finished game includes 300,000 animations, 500,000 lines of dialogue, and many more lines of code. Even for each Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer and TV commercial, we probably made 70 versions, but the editors may make several hundred. Sam and I will both make lots of suggestions, as will other members of the team." And if you didn't get what part of this was controversial, it was the 100-hour weeks. And at least in America, what's supposed to be normal work week is 40 hours per week. And unfortunately, a lot of companies love abusing their employees and trying to get away with whatever they can. So unfortunately, a lot of the times the norm is around 60-hour weeks because fun. But the norm is supposed to be 40. Sometimes it's 60, unfortunately, but we're not even talking about that. We're talking about 100 hours, and after 40 hours, they've done studies, after 40 hours, your productivity practically falls off of a cliff, and it's just not healthy for people to work past 40 hours a week, because you don't get enough sleep, you don't have enough time to be social, you get too stressed out. It's physically and mentally not healthy, and on top of that, you're not getting as much done as if you just hired multiple people working 40 hours a week. And on top of that, this isn't something, I've seen a couple people being like, well, at least they're working 100 hours, a week, they're getting paid a lot. But that's not the case at all, because most of the people in these companies and businesses are working salary, which means they say, okay, you're going to work 40 hours a week and we're going to pay you this much per month. And they can just tell you, hey, we need you to work overtime. But you don't get paid for overtime. They don't clock in and clock out and get paid for each hour they work there. They're kind of on a contract, and they pretty much have to do whatever they're told. And most people, as long as you're not getting abused, can kind of like salary pay, because it's more consistent. You know what you're going to be making. You don't have to worry about being sick for a day and not being able to clock in and you lose money. So overall, it can be a good thing, except when you have companies, like I said, that aren't forcing you to work 40 hours like you're supposed to be, but working you 60 hours. And then this isn't even 60 hours, this is 100-hour weeks, and that is absurd. That's like you wake up and it's 5 a.m., you go work for 15 hours, you snack and find some time to eat and shit in that day, and then you drive all the way home, you get 6 hours of sleep, you wake up, you go do it again and again and again and again and again, and for a whole week, or multiple weeks, as they've said, working 100-hour weeks with an S. So a lot of people are angry because it's just yet another example of a company abusing its employees, and especially in the video game industry, because unfortunately so many people want to work in the video game industry, especially as video game developers, where if you want to work in a AAA title studio, you have to kind of just be okay with being abused, because if you aren't okay with that, then they'll just fire you and hire any of the billions of people that would happily take your job. Because if there's a lot of people that want the job, they can pretty much treat everybody terribly. And if they leave, okay, we got a plenty of supply of people that want to have your job, and it's disgusting. So that's why people were angry. And then they released a response to the controversy, going back to Kotaku, and it's a little bit longer, but I wanted to read it in full, that way you have the full context. And this is what the response was. "There seems to be some confusion arising from my interview with Harold Goldberg. The point I was trying to make in the article was related to how the narrative and dialogue in the game was crafted, which was mostly what we talked about, not about the different processes of the wider team. After working on the game for 7 years, the senior writing team, which consists of 4 people, Mike Unsworth, Rupert Humphreys, Laszlo, and myself, had, as we always do, 3 weeks of intense work when we wrapped everything up. 3 weeks, not years. We have all worked together for at least 12 years now, and we feel we need this to get everything finished. After so many years of getting things organized and ready on this project, we needed this to check and finalize everything. More importantly, we obviously don't expect anyone else to work this way. Across the whole company, we have some senior people who work very hard purely because they're passionate about a project or their particular work, and we believe that passion shows in the games we release. But that additional effort is a choice, and we don't expect or ask anyone to work anything like this. Lots of other senior people work in an entirely different way and are just as productive. I'm just not one of them. No one, senior or junior, is ever forced to work hard. I believe we go to great lengths to run a business that cares about its people and to make the company a great place for them to work. And if you did not realize, that was not in fact an apology. That is what we call doubling down. So, not only at any point did he apologize for pretty much having people work 100 hours, he instead said, well, we don't force anybody to do that. But then he goes to say, we do it because we're passionate. And he brings up the word passionate a lot. He says, well, you know, a lot of the senior up people, including myself, we're just so passionate about what we do that we're willing to spend all that time. We're passionate about it. And you know what? There's a lot of people that work for us that are passionate. We hire passionate people. And unfortunately, you know, we don't force people to be passionate, but, you know, we hire passionate people. So we're passionate here. He uses the word passionate a lot. And obviously, this is probably not true, because if someone is not, you know, if they're wanting you to work 100 hours and you're like, nope, I'm gonna work 40 hours, they'll just fire you and hire someone that is quote-unquote passionate, and they'll get their way regardless of whether it's you working 100 hours or whoever is taking your job working 100 hours. So he's not apologizing for the kind of culture, the crunch culture that they're in. Instead, he's kind of glorifying this crunch culture, which, if anything else, it should not be glorified. I mean, we should be talking about how bad it is. Working past 40 hours has been proven to be so unhealthy for you, and to consistently do it for weeks at a time is abysmal, and it is horrid, and it is disgusting. So even if it truly is up to each person, and there is absolutely no obligation to work more than 40 hours a week, and you know there's no punishment for it, and you know that the fact that they're glorifying this and being like, well, if you're truly a passionate game developer, if you're truly passionate about what you care, what you do, you'll grind out, you'll go in this crunch time. But the thing is we know that's not true. They definitely, just like every other company, unfortunately, are just firing people that aren't meeting up to their standards of passion. And it's disgusting. And people have been, like I said, calling for game developers to unionize or do something about this, because it is disgusting. And you know, you got a bunch of people that are like, well, if people unionize, then they'll lay off a bunch of people, and you know, all this and all that. And one thing I want to point out is, if that is true and everybody unionizes and they do lay off a bunch of people, I would say that would be good because it would have the end goal of overall everybody being treated better. So although, yeah, unfortunately, because companies are terrible, there might be some people getting laid off, as a whole, game development as a job would be so much better. And it's disgusting. That's all it really is. And you know, especially with how much money these AAA, I mean, what is it? GTA 5 is the most profitable piece of media, like digital media ever. Like past movies, books, TV shows, video games, it's just the most popular entertainment product of all time. Are you telling me that they do not have enough money to hire more people? Because they do. The answer is yes, they do. Especially these AAA title companies that are making all their games live services and not only charging $60, but you have $100 editions, $200 editions, $5 billion editions. Then you have loot boxes and microtransactions and pay-to-win aspects and all of these ways to milk your money. Limited edition things, seasonal passes, battle passes. All of these ways that they're making money on top of everything. They have more than enough money. I assure you. They have so much money, they don't know what to do with it, but they're not doing the one thing that would be useful, which is not only paying, a lot of these employees aren't paid that well, and second of all, they're treated terribly. If you need to maybe do a crunch time, how about you pay people overtime if it really is needed? And to prevent that in the future, hire more people. There is no reason that people should be having to work 100-hour work weeks. And even if it is that the fact where nobody has to do this, and in fact, it's just senior people up doing it, don't glorify it, because it's going to, if anything, make people think that that is the norm, and they're going to feel bad about themselves for living a healthy life, working at 40 hours a week, or possibly even 60 if need be. But 100 hours and glorifying that disgusting crunch is horrid. It's terrible. And I don't want anybody to be brainwashed into thinking that is the norm. And unfortunately, Rockstar, Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably going to be good. It's going to be, another one of the most popular entertainment products of all time, and their success, they'll be like, oh, okay, cool, we can do crunch time, and we'll make the more money than we know what to do with. We're gonna have to start burying it in barns because we literally have too much money. It's ridiculous. But overall, that's all I really wanted to say on it. I just, heard about the controversy that was going on and wanted to put my 2 cents out there. If you guys have any opinions on it, somehow, if you have worked in a video game studio or even any kind of corporate entity or just anywhere where this crunch time is expected, I would definitely love to hear your experience. But if not, I would just love to hear your opinions on the kind of controversy as a whole. And if you guys enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content. New videos come out every Wednesday and Sunday. And like always, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day.